Section 77. Once again, by means of the Buddha's spiritual power, Mahamate Bodhisattva asked the Buddha, Bhagavan, your proclamation of what neither arises nor ceases is not unique. And why not? Because there are other schools whose causes neither arise nor cease. Also, the Bhagavan teaches that the realms of space, non-analytic cessation, and nirvana neither arise nor cease. Bhagavan, other schools teach that every world arises from causes, while the Bhagavan teaches that every world arises from the conditions of ignorance, desire, karma, and projection. But the causes of the one and the conditions of the other are merely different words. The same is true for the causes and conditions of external objects, for which there is no difference between the explanations of the Bhagavan and those of other schools. Instead of their 9 things that neither arise nor cease, such as elementary particles, a first cause, a paramount power, or a creator, the Bhagavan also teaches that whatever exists neither arises nor ceases, because its existence or non-existence cannot be determined. Other schools also teach that the 4 elements are indestructible, that their essential nature neither arises nor ceases, that they are eternal, and that the 4 elements extend everywhere without losing their essential nature. What the Bhagavan teaches is also like this, which is why I said it was not unique. I hope the Bhagavan can explain how it differs, how it is unique, and how it excels that of other schools. But if there isn't any difference, then the teachers of other schools must also be Buddhas based on their teaching of what neither arises nor ceases. The Bhagavan has said it is impossible for multiple Buddhas to appear in the world at the same time. But according to the foregoing, if there isn't any difference, there would be multiple Buddhas at the same time. The Buddha told Mahamate, My teaching of what neither arises nor ceases is not the same as the teaching of what neither arises nor ceases taught by members of other schools. And how so? According to these members of other schools, there is something that exists that has the characteristics of neither arising nor changing. Mind does not fall prey to such categories as existence or non-existence. Mahamate, mind transcends the categories of existence and non-existence. It is not subject to arising or ceasing. Neither does it exist, nor does it not exist. It does not exist because it appears just as an illusion or a dream does. But then how does it not exist? Because form lacks any perceptible characteristics of self-existence, it appears but does not appear. It is perceived but is not perceived. Therefore, whatever exists neither exists nor does not exist. Once you realize it is nothing but the perception of your own mind, its projections do not arise, you dwell in peace and happiness, and worldly concerns cease. What ignorant and foolish people do is give rise to projections, but not the wise. Projections are not real, like cities of Gandharvas or their conjured residents. Mahamate, foolish people imagine their conjured residents, such as merchants and shopkeepers, entering and leaving those Gandharvan cities, and that they really enter and leave, when, in fact, no one enters or leaves. It is merely due to their projections. Likewise, Mahamate, the confusion foolish people give rise to about what neither arises nor ceases is neither created nor not created. It is like the appearance of conjured beings. In truth, nothing arises or ceases. There is no existence or non-existence. This is true of all things. They neither arise nor cease. Foolish people fall prey to falsehood and give rise to projections of arising and ceasing, but not the wise. What is false is not so, and it is no different with the projection of self-existence. Though projections seem to be different, they are attachments to the self-existence of things due to not seeing clearly. Those who do not see clearly never get free of projections. Therefore, Mahamate, seeing what has no form is better than not seeing what has form. Seeing what has form is the cause of rebirth. Hence, it isn't better. Mahamate, where there is no form, projections do not arise. What neither arises nor ceases is what I call nirvana. Mahamate, nirvana is to see the meaning of what is truly so, and to get free from the net of thoughts of previous projections. To attain the personal realization of the noble knowledge of a Tathagata, this is what I call nirvana. Section 78. The Bhagavan then repeated the meaning of this in verse.
To refute the doctrine of arising, to establish the truth of non-arising, I explain this teaching. Fools can't understand. Although things don't arise, they don't exist as nothing. As Gandharvan cities, illusions or dreams, they exist but without a cause. Why don't things arise or exist by themselves? Why are they empty? Because, apart from combinations, nothing appears to wisdom. Thus I teach what is empty, what doesn't arise and is not self-existent. When this and that combine, something appears but doesn't exist. Analysis finds no combination, despite what other schools claim. As dreams, illusions, or strands of hair, mirages or Gandharvan cities, such are the things of the world. They appear but without a cause. To refute doctrines of causation, I proclaim the truth of non-arising. Because I proclaim non-arising, the Dharma continues unbroken, but the radiance of no causation frightens the followers of other paths.
Mahamate then asked in verse,
How and caused by what? And why do things arise? And how do they come together, according to this doctrine of no causation?
The Bhagavan then replied in verse,
When created things are examined as neither having nor not having a cause, the doctrine of arising and cessation is undone by what one sees.
Mahamate then asked in verse,
Does non-arising mean non-existence, or does it wait upon a cause? A name should not mean nothing. Could you please explain?
The Bhagavan then replied in verse,
Non-arising isn't due to non-existence, nor does it wait upon a cause, nor does a name mean something exists, nor does a name have no meaning. Beyond the reach of other paths, Pratyeka Buddhas and Shravakas, beyond the 7 stages, this is the realm of non-arising, beyond causes and conditions, likewise beyond all actions, resting on nothing but mind. This, I say, is non-arising. Things not arising from causes, neither existing nor not existing, beyond perceive or unperceived. This, I say, is non-arising. The mind without an object, beyond the 2 modes of reality, transforming one's very ground. This, I say, is non-arising. No external existence or non-existence, no grasping by the mind, putting an end to every view. This, I say, is non-arising. When something is thus distinguished as empty and without self-existence, it isn't empty because it's empty. It's empty because it doesn't arise. When causes and conditions combine, something arises and something ceases. Aside from causes and conditions, nothing else arises or ceases. Aside from causes and conditions, there isn't something else that exists. something the same or different, despite what other schools say. Existence or non-existence doesn't arise. There is no existence or non-existence, except when causes and combinations change. Neither of these apply. It's only according to convention. Mutual dependence becomes a chain. Apart from the chain of causation, arising has no meaning. Arising doesn't arise if it doesn't exist. The error of other paths is thus avoided. I only speak of a chain of causation when fools can't understand. As for something else arising, apart from the chain of causation, this is the doctrine of no causation, which denies the meaning of the chain. Just as a lamp illuminates forms, perception of the chain does the same. Thus, apart from the chain, something else would exist. What doesn't arise doesn't exist. Its existence is like that of space. Apart from the chain of causation, the wise find nothing to see. But there is something that doesn't arise, something attained by the wise, the arising of which doesn't arise, the forbearance of non-arising. If in every world, whatever you see is a chain, everything is a chain, from this you will attain samadhi. Ignorance, desire and karma, these are the interior chain. A bow drill, a lump of clay, a wheel, and seeds make up the outside. If something else existed, something arising from causes, this would negate the chain's meaning, and thus it wouldn't succeed. If something arose that didn't exist, which link would be its cause? Things give rise to each other. This is what causation means. Solidity, moisture, heat and movement. These are the projections of fools. Nothing else exists but their combinations. Thus I teach no self-existence. Like doctors who treat diseases, don't have particular doctrines. Because diseases differ, they prescribe different cures. For the sake of other beings, to rid them of afflictions, I gauge their level of understanding before I decide what to teach. But different afflictions and understandings don't mean different teachings. I only teach one path, the path of the Mahayana.